I'll never leave the pictures till the lights come on. I'm a bug. Be a bug. I take drugs to get drunk.
Oh, you're wearing your Sixpence t-shirt.
Yeah, boy. Did you watch a movie this week, did you?
I'm telling you, not happy.
I mean, I shouldn't give away my opinion right now, but it's essentially, I think it literally is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life in its entirety. Like, usually I get halfway through, but this movie fucking sucks, and I'll turn it off. I got to the 40th minute mark, and I was like, ooh, you know what? I might turn it off. But I thought, no, I've come this far. I need to punish Carlos. He has to watch this.
What do we watch? 1, 2, 3. Sid Nancy.
Nancy. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It was horrible.
It took me 3 days to finish that movie. And I remember telling you, I've never watched a worse movie in my life. But if I'm watching a bad movie, I stop. Bad movie, don't need to watch it. But this time, I had to finish it because we were doing this thing.
Because I got halfway through it, I was like, this is absolutely abhorrent. I want to stop doing this now. I want to do anything but watch this movie. But a mixture of two things. A, I wanted you to watch it to punish you a little bit because I had to suffer through it. And B, I wanted to see Nancy die because she annoyed me so much. I knew she would at the end. So I just kept going.
I knew that Sid had died from an overdose. Spoiler alert. Sid dies from an overdose.
Hey, what? Fuck. Oh, I saw him on Judge Judy in 1997. He appeared on Judge Judy. Yeah, it was Johnny Rodden, actually. Actually, the only thing that Johnny Rodden ever did after the Sex Pistols was appear on Judge Judy in 1997.
I have 2 things that I have to say about this movie.
What's the first? No, start with the second.
Okay, the second. Okay. Nancy, did you ever watch the movie Cry Baby with Johnny Depp?
Oh, yes. Yeah, a while ago.
Do you remember Mona Hatchet-Face Malnorowski? Nancy looks exactly like her. It was the personality as well. I think the personality, the voice, the accent. And then my second thing, Johnny Rotten, spoiler alert, might be Drop Dead Fred.
Okay, yeah. I hear you. He's not, because that's the dude with the young ones who's dead now. Casting was average when it came to Johnny Rodden and Nancy a little bit, although she played a character pretty good because she was a scracken mole. Gary Oldman played Sid pretty well. He portrayed him to be the absolute numbskull, moronic fucking goose that he was, and he looked cool, and the clothes were fucking bang on. The first night I have for this movie, if I ever become suspect of murdering my girlfriend, which I hope I don't because I'm quite fond of her and I don't want her to die. If I do, hypothetically, I hope that when I'm arrested and I'm in prison, that my hair looks as fucking good as Sid Vicious's did in this movie, because he looked fucking cool.
His hair did look good, I have to say.
Hey, before we get too far into it, I did one neat thing from last week, because last week I thought I was kind of over the shingles. I had a few drinks. Turns out I wasn't over the shingles. They hit me pretty hard. I blacked out pretty early on. And I watched the video you put up. I reckon I blacked out about 2/3 into it. And the neat thing about this was I got to see our video, third person perspective, and sort of with virgin eyes be like, oh, I don't remember me saying that or Carlos saying that. And it was okay. I don't think we're as funny as we think we are. In fact, maybe we should scrap the whole idea and start a cooking show.
What's Cooking Good Looking?
Yep.
With Dave Brown and Carlos. I think this week we don't do it like a long review.
We've got 2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes to review this movie.
It's shit. The next thing I'm going to say is the T-shirt. The T-shirt that Sid Vicious wears, the infamous swastika T-shirt. Now, that was deemed by the art director, the director, whomever's in charge of this atrocity of a film, to be not deemed marketable or palatable for the audience. And yet they somehow deem a Soviet symbol, so they've got the hammer and the sickle on his shirt, as opposed to the swastika that represents the National Socialist Party of Germany. They've got the Soviet Union. They reckon it's a little bit better. And I'm interested like that. I mean, the Soviets did some pretty naughty things. I mean, Trotsky had his death train that went through the country, decimated a lot of people. Stalin had the gulags. They kind of created the world's biggest man-made famine ever in the Ukraine in the early 30s, the Holodomor. Pretty naughty. A lot of cannibalism happened. Weak move, changing his shirt. It was a powerful move to wear that shirt. Not something I'd do. And not in front of the band. I'd probably lose a few record sales there.
The whole point of his T-shirt was obviously like shock value. And what I found funny is that rather than them keeping the Swastika T-shirt that he that he's known for. They put the communist one. But then the funny thing is, like, if you look at his jacket, he still had like a swastika here. So I found it funny that they changed the T-shirt because it was a big one, but they still had like a small one here as one of his badges. So there's a new segment called Lance's Facts.
Yeah, he's a bit of a punk rock historian / complete nerd.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how this dude knows all this stuff, but obviously he has a lot of time on his hands. It's just shit that you look at it and you're like, who cares? So Lance fact number 1 about this movie: the Sex Pistols played no fun, not problems in their last show.
Why does anybody care about that? That's too pedantic.
Fact number 2, which is 2 in Spanish.
Do you speak Spanish?
Español. Johnny Rotten said, have you ever felt you've been cheated at the end of the set, not at the start?
Do you ever feel like you've been cheated? Yeah, classic moment. Just before they never played again.
Fact number 3.
Hit me.
Sid Vicious bashed the guy with the bass in the States, not in the UK. I'm pretty sure I saw the bashing in the States. To be honest, I didn't pay attention to this movie at all. Fact number 4. Pauly Stein was played by a white woman in the movie.
It's true. She was a puckia.
Fact number 5. Talking about the T-shirt, he did say very on punk. Fact number 6. There is no documentation of X-Ray, Specs, and Sex Pistols ever playing a show together.
They started because Pauly Stein saw the Sex Pistols. She saw them, and then she put an ad out recruiting.
They started a band, yeah.
And I mean, the Sex Pistols played for like 5 minutes, so there's no way that she would have started a band in time and played with them. He is pretty good with this shit, Lance.
Well, that's why this segment is called Lance's Facts.
Okay, that makes sense. I like how you said Lance then.
Lance.
Yeah, Lance. That's what I said, yeah.
You said Lance?
I said Lance.
Lance.
I like to dance with Lance if I have the chance.
So I like to dance with Lance if I have the chance.
You're fucked, mate. But yeah, Lance has got it all sorted up. He doesn't drink that much, so he remembers things. You've probably got that ability too. That's cool.
No.
Dave Carlos. After this T-shirt thing, in my next notes, I have here famous US tour that fucking split them. And they're having the meeting with the tour. This is one of my favorite parts of it. They don't want Nancy coming because she's going to get fucking sit into the old smackadoodle-doo. And they say, I got 4 words. No woman on the tour. It's 5 words. That made me laugh. But then the best part of the whole fucking movie, and you're going to be with me, and you're going to see it with me. They're on tour, they're in the bus, and then the roadie comes up and goes, hey, John, great tour. I'm a bit of a songster myself. I bet you didn't know that. I've written this little number. It's a little bit punky. I want a job. I want a job. I want a good job. I want a job. I want a job. I want a real job. One that satisfies my artistic needs. You should cover that in your band.
Yeah, I said yes.
So that was fun. That was a fun part of the movie. I reckon that's probably the highlight.
Oh, that's the other thing. That tour was infamous. I completely forgot they had like bikies as their security.
Yeah, you saw them in the film. I read that book so long ago, I forgot about it.
But they're following the bus the whole way.
Sid had his own personal fucking minder the whole trip.
He was in the bike club.
Yeah, no, the American tour was probably, that was the end of the band, wasn't it?
But that was the only tour they did in America, right?
Yeah, totally. And it flopped. I don't know if they did the whole thing. When they broke up, I mean, obviously, Sid Vicious was pushing daisies. Johnny Rotten did Public Image Limited, sucked. Steve Jones.
There's one good song.
But Steve Jones and Paul Cook go on and start the Professionals, and they're fucking awesome. And that's the best thing that happens about the Pistols breaking up is, yeah, I was listening to it earlier today. Fucking.
Told me about the Professionals. The Sex Pistols was their musical peak because it's a great band. And after that, I didn't really look into it much. I did like My Way as a song. I like it. The video I used to like a lot as a youngster. And then when he sings My Way and when he's filming it, it is fucking terrible.
In the movie, with Gary Oldman doing it. It's a weird scene. I think the original is pretty cringe too. I really like that Come On Everybody song he does. Come on.
Oh, that was good, yeah.
Is that him singing or is that fucking Steve?
No, I thought it was him.
Yeah, I think it is him. Yeah, no, that's good.
That's in the Great Rock and Roll Swindle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
What'd you think about Malcolm McLaren?
He didn't have much of a presence, pretty weedy.
I think that was good because he was kind of like the brains, but he never did any. Went to his grave. Not that interesting.
Graves aren't really overly like that interesting.
Go to the Karl Marx grave in that same cemetery.
Yeah, okay.
Around the border from him. Woo! Next time you're in London, go to Highgate Cemetery.
John Lamu. After that, I got Nancy's grandparents.
Oh.
Love
You
it.
told me about that. So I was going to give up on the movie completely and just pretend that I watched it and do this review anyway. But then you said to me, no, it's going to get good. Keep on watching it. And then it was the grandparents. Woo!
But before they get the house run in the car, she's driving like, the scrawking mole. Like, basically, this movie is an hour and a half of a scrawking mole with blonde wig going, and like, Sid be like, oh, yeah, sorry, love, yeah. So she's like, they'd be like, oh, look over there. Look. I won in a roller skating competition there, and Nancy's grandma's in the front of the car, and she says, don't fib, Nancy. And then Nancy says, fuck off, grandma. It was funny, because you shouldn't say that to your grandma. It was a bit naughty. I wouldn't say that to my grandma's lovely. If you're watching this, Nan, you're definitely not. And then they go to the house. Have an awkward dinner. They're all fucking smacked up to the wazoo, drunk as shit. Not a good family member.
Probably the worst family member.
It makes the family Christmas fun when there's someone drunker than you, I reckon. So I don't mind people like that at my family gathering because it's usually me. They end up staying at a hotel that night, and this is where it's very cute. They're in bed watching TV. Got matching t-shirts. Isn't that romantic?
Yes, I remember that. I have a question. Who was paying for the hotel the whole time?
I think it was funded from the money, where she's like, come on, give Sid, he's going to be amazing. And she gets... I imagine back then that was a lot of money. That probably covered it.
Did the drug dealer call the cops when Sid killed Nancy? Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, she's dead. I thought he called the cops.
Who? Sid?
Yeah.
They didn't have a phone down there. Remember, they had to go to use the phone. They had to go to the...
Oh, it must have been the drug dealer. I think that's the basis of this film is saying, hey, heroin's really cool. Give it a crack. I think that's what I got from it. Did you get that? I've never tried heroin. I've never felt the need. I've seen the results on people I know and people I don't know. And the algorithm doesn't really add up. The success rate of regularly doing heroin isn't that great. It's not like you bump into your old mate. Say you see someone from 10 years ago, let's call him John. You're like, yeah, hey, John, how you been? You're looking really good. And he's like, yeah, I'm great. I've been doing heroin. And you're like, okay. And he's like, yeah, my wife's really stoked. I just got a promotion at my job and I see my kids all the time. And me and my mates hang out. I haven't been stealing off them at all. That's not really how the conversation would go. Oh, so I see you're into heroin, and he'd be like, and that's why it's a stupid drug. Like, I'm into drugs and recreational use of drugs, and I enjoy them. It's not a drug that I'd bother with because it looks boring. It's like, they're always asleep. It's like...
Let's just rate the movie.
It gets 1 out of 5. And the only reason it gets a 1 is because they got the aesthetics right. The costumes were good. That's the only reason it gets a 1.
I think I give it a solid 0.
Yeah, I respect that. This is a shit movie. Before we wrap it up, I want to talk about the last scene.
The pizza place.
Oh, yeah. He leaves the cop shop. He gets bail for some reason unbeknownst to anybody.
Who bails a murder?
People that don't care about someone that died of... You're saying is guilty. They had a suicide pact. She might have killed herself. Well, see, here's what's interesting. Now, see, you do most of the work for this video, and you think I just get drunk and talk shit. But I did a little bit of research, and I got in contact with a living family member of Sid Vicious. Adam, who runs Piss Fart Records, plays in Smooch, also plays guitar in Reaper. His granddad's second cousin's son is Sid Vicious. Amusingly, I talked to Adam and I said, hey, you're related to Sid Vicious? He said, yes. He's my grandfather's second cousin's child. And I said, okay, well, you're the spokesperson for him now. Do you think he did it? Probably not, but I don't really care. But anyway, I'm not getting into conspiracy theories. I'm not into flat earth because I quite like hills. Skateboarding's good.
Nancy, when they're in America, when they're living in New York, she tells Sid that he doesn't need to practice and he doesn't need to learn the lyrics and you should just make it up on the spot.
Good advice.
Do you know who used to do that?
Who?
James from Execution.
Isn't you talking shit on Execution to boost Systema because it's essentially the same band but with you in it? Is this what this is happening here?
No.
Oh, no. The final scene of the movie. Sid Vicious, he gets a bail for some reason, which is weird. Bail on potential murder charge, a little bit odd. And they're like, the cops like trying to give him some life advice or whatever. And as he's leaving, they're like, oh yeah. And he said, oh, by the way, where can I get a pizza? I want a pizza. So the scene then cuts, and he's in this fucking desolate wasteland eating pizza in a dump. Eats a pizza, comes out. There's some kids there. They're like, dance with us, and he's like, no, and they're like, stop being so stuck up. And he's like, yeah. He dances with them. A taxi pulls up. Nancy's in there. He hops in. Taxi drives off. End of the movie.
Beautiful.
Shit into a shit movie. You look at it and you're like, that is a piss weak attempt of a poetic sort of finish and symbolism. So this is where I tie it into Scroll Down with Dave Brown, my favorite part of the show. This is where I tied it. Because while I was watching the movie, because I was so fucking bored, I was going through the comments. I came across the final scene, and somebody comments on the final scene. And what we have here is someone called James Kirichow. He loved the finish. You know, this is comments specifically on the last scene. He says, one of the best, deepest endings of all time. Sid eating his pizza, heroin / last meal. Sid knocking over the table, moment of death. He keeps going on. Taxi that comes out of nowhere with no driver. Angel of death. Righty. The ending is one of the best and deepest ever and filled with lots of meaning. All right, so James is essentially a massive idiot who's never read a book in his life. You know, he has no authority to talk about poetry or symbolism or meaning or anything. I reckon the only book he's ever read is the TV Guide. About as poetic as an acrostic poem. Are you familiar with acrostic poems, Carlos?
I can't say I'm familiar with poems at all.
Well, you write lyrics. Essentially, one would argue that that's poetic. An acrostic poem is what you do in primary school. It's when you write the topic of the letters vertically, and then off each letter you go horizontally. And it's not poetic at all. So what I've done is prepared an acrostic poem for this movie. I'm quite proud of it. So we got Sid and Nancy down there. So S, seriously mediocre. I, isn't worth watching. D, dumb as. And absolutely abhorrent. Got a bit of alliteration going on there. James Kirichow from the comments. I'm not sure if you're familiar with alliteration. You seem to be quite illiterate yourself. That's when you have the same letter repeated for effect. N, Nancy is so fucking annoying. D, Dumber and Dumber, in brackets, e.g., because that's a better movie than this. It's an example of a better movie. So N, nice job on costumes. A, fuck, no. And here's a shout out to all the D-Beat fans. N, never again.
Oh!
Huh? Yeah, all those people that are going bubka, bubka and singing about explosions. Yep, and dying children. Well done. D-Beat's not tedious at all. Just like this movie. C, Carlos hated it too. And why, yay, it's over. Fuck this movie and fuck this guy called James Kirchhoff that thought that was a poetic and fantastic ending. It sucked.
I'm going to do a shout out. There's one person in the Czech Republic that watches our show.
Nice. I Czech Republic.
But anyway, shout out to Nick. Nick is a person that has terrible taste in music.
Does he listen to Systema?
I'm pretty sure he's going to be watching this Stone because it's all he does as well. And he's proud of it as well. So shout out to you, Nick.
Nice one, Nick.
Oh, not a shout out to Julia, nor Stu.
So this film is basically the worst film I've ever seen. But I did find a particularly shit one that I might compare it to today. It's on VHS, specifically VHS. I don't know if you guys have seen this. But yeah. Just VHS. That's not hipster at all. Oh, whoa, that was a pretty cool click. So we're going to play Would You Rather. Yeah, okay, so basically, would you rather watch this film or XXX? So I'll get the ball rolling. Carlos, would you rather watch Sid and Nancy, the film, again, or watch all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, one after the other? You can't get any sleep, and you have to stay awake, and you're fully alert. Sort of a Clockwork Orange situation where your eyeballs are and they're just feeding you black coffee. You can't nod off. You get an hour and a half of this absolute bollocks, or you have this wanky film made by Peter Jackson, who was a prick and got workers' laws changed in New Zealand for his own personal wealth.
I like Lord of the Rings, so I'd go with Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Would you rather date Nancy or date a cop?
Fuck. Is she dead before I start dating her?
You're going to get Nancy at her peak.
You can never date a cop. I'll just get some earmuffs and dates Nancy. Well, that was a difficult one. Would you rather watch Sid and Nancy again or give up skateboarding and your only form of transport was rollerblades?
Oh.
Right? Huh?
Can't do the rollerblades. Take the movie again. Would you rather go on a blind date with Nancy, or would you rather go on a blind date with Margaret Thatcher?
Oh, fuck. Thatcher, because she'd have good gym. She'd have some really nice stuff. Would you rather watch Sid and Nancy again twice in succession, soon as the credits roll out, it starts again, or walk into a room and your parents are fornicating?
I think sex is a beautiful thing, but I wouldn't want to see my parents have sex, so I'd go with the movie.
Twice.
And what's
Sydney! Sydney! What about the goodbye drugs?
Would you rather watch this movie once in slow motion? So it's a movie that takes an hour and a half. In slow motion, it'll take 3. Or would you give Pauline Henson a tuck-in and a cuddle at night for an hour?
Attacking and a cuddle. Oh God, he's so riddled with hate. I'd watch the movie.
In slow motion.
For 24 hours. I would watch the movie for 24 hours.
He's a punk.